Happy Friday! Welcome to the Scoop World Order. The Buffalo Wild Wings annual meetup before the spring game is tomorrow, 10 a.m. Doors open. Get there early. Don't play because it's going to get, last time we were there, man, it was crowded and it slammed and it was awesome. So, got a ton of people committed to show up. A lot of surprises will be there. Really excited to see the crew tomorrow, our annual spring game meetup. Buffalo Wild Wings, corner of Lane and High Street, right on campus, a 5-minute walk to the Horseshoe. So come through. Looking forward to seeing all you guys. I think it's going to be a blast. A lot of great news, a humongous, maybe the biggest recruiting weekend we've ever had outside of maybe a huge Ohio State Michigan game, but we've got a ton of kids coming in from all over the country. Obviously, Ryan Day is riding high, winning a national championship. The NIL is cooking. The team is really killing it. Nice little light scrimmage type thing today. They were not in pads, so it doesn't really count if you're not in pads. But hey, some guys made some moves today. Talk about all that. Take your questions as well. As always, if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys. Can't wait to see you guys all tomorrow. All your smiling faces. It was great. Caught up with Steely today. We had a little bit of lunch. A good time. Andy Joe is out at PBR at Easton tonight, so make sure you go check out Andy Joe Taylor. Steely and a bunch of the crew, Coco, are rolling out there. So go check our girl out. She's performing actually right now. So holler at the crew, and then I'll see you guys all at 10 a.m. tomorrow. But it's going to be a great day. If you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. Again, this has been a humongous year for us. Tomorrow's going to be an epic celebration. Cannot wait to see all of you guys celebrating everything. Make sure that you guys subscribe to Apple Podcasts along with Spotify. When I see you guys tomorrow, I'm going to be looking at your phones. Make sure you guys are subscribing to our stuff. But I just appreciate you guys so much for growing this thing. It's been incredible. I'm just so thankful for you guys. So look forward to see you guys. With that being said, gonna bring in my good friend Nevadabuck. Nevada, it is a monstrous recruiting weekend. My phone has been buzzing nonstop with parents and players who have gotten into town. They're excited to see what is going on with the program, with Ryan Day. A lot of momentum at this point. What are your thoughts on the recruiting weekend? Again, it's a spring game. So I love the spring game recruiting weekends because there's obviously no stress compared to a regular weekend. Obviously, when you're, week one, when we host Texas, it'll be a huge weekend, but there's a lot of stress around the program because they got to win the game. Michigan, when they come to town, Penn State, when they come to town, huge weekends, but very stressful. Spring game, very light, very fun. Players are a little more relaxed. What are your thoughts on the recruiting weekend? Because it's about to be a monstrous weekend for Ohio State over the next 48 hours. What are your thoughts?
Well, one, we've got good weather. I think they're saying like 66 degrees tomorrow or something like that, mostly sunny. I mean, kind of an ideal April day for a spring game. You've got the celebration of the national championship kind of going on there, so that's always a nice thing to have, because people are going there for the first time and having a chance to kind of see everything and experience the national championship in all its glory. Being able to have the fans out there, the staff's out there, the players, everybody's excited. But I mean, you look at the it's a who's who of people coming in. I mean, you've got committed guys like Chris Henry Jr. and Blake Bradford. You've got the uncommitted, the Tyler Atkinson, the great linebacker, Ryder Lyons, the quarterback, Derek Cooper, Felix Ojo. I mean, it goes on, and it's not just 26 guys; it's 2027 guys, and there's a sprinkle of 2028 guys in there as well. And you're going to have all your you're going to have a bunch of committed guys on top of the uncommitted. So yeah, I really am struggling to think of a bigger. I mean, when you think about everything that's kind of there, the spring game, the national championship celebration, because it is, let's make no mistake, it's a national championship celebration. They're going to get a chance to see all the hardware and all the trophies, and a recruiting class this size with the recruiting momentum Ohio State's had. I really can't remember a bigger recruiting week. There might have been recruiting weekends as big, but I can't remember one bigger than this one. And unlike a Michigan game where you and I both know that the recruiting results have been mixed coming out of those Michigan games, this one I actually think we'll see some recruits commit on top of the guys that we already have committed into the class. I would expect to see at least, I'll set the over under at Booms at 2, and with a shade to the over. So I think that you'll definitely see 2. You could see as many as 3 coming out of this weekend. And like I said, it's a great time for Ohio State. It's a great time for them to be kind of showcasing the program to the country. And I think timing's everything in life, and it's a good time for everything to be happening. Pantone's just been extended on top of everything else. You've kind of stabilized your staff. So tomorrow is just going to be a great day for Ohio State. And if you get a chance and you're in Columbus, go. And if you don't, watch it. I believe it's going to be on the Big Ten Network. It's going to be a fun day. I know that I sadly will not be there, but I will definitely be watching and enjoying. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to see what comes out of this weekend, because I really do think Ohio State's has so much recruiting momentum right now that I think they can really compete on a level playing field for just about any kid in the country. And they've got some of the best in there this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, there's some big fish. I mean, Tyler Atkinson's in town. He's the guy that we're going to try to do business with. He's a Micah Parsons type, Abdul Carter type edge slash linebacker. He's on James Laurinaitis' recruiting board right now as a linebacker, but he could play defensive end very easily. He's probably the best player in the country. But it's us in Georgia, I think, and it's going to be interesting to see what they think of the program. But we got a lot of momentum. I mean, Chris Henry Jr. is going to be here. His teammate, Caden Dixon-Wyatt, who I actually think might be better than Chris, is going to be here. Another modern day kid. So Caden Dixon-Wyatt is maybe the best receiver in the country, and he loves Ohio State. Again, I'm not trying to act like I know anything more, but he's the kid that loves wearing the Ohio State stuff all over the place. And does that really mean anything? No. I mean, I know kids will wear LSU gloves and then a Oregon hoodie and then Ohio State cleats and whatever. But Caden Dixon-Wyatt wears a lot of Ohio State stuff. So he's, again, these receivers, again, if you guys want to get paid and you see what Jamar Chase and some of these superstars are making, I mean, Brian Hartline's the guy that's going to get you to where you need to get to. And when he stamps you, it's the road to NFL riches. And that means you take your time. You can be like a Mekabuka, Jackson Smith and Jigba. A lot of these guys that, they kind of progress through your freshman year, play a little bit, sophomore year, play more, junior year, start. Then after that, you're in the league. Or if you're back and say for a fourth year, a lot of these guys took off after 3 first round. Caden Dixon-Wyatt could be that easily. But yeah, it'll be a celebration. They're gonna unveil the rings again. I think that the main things you want to do as an Ohio State football player, in terms of team goals, are obviously be a first team All-American, win a national title. Those are the two biggies. So the rings will be unveiled. I mean, Ryan Day's already kind of they kind of did a video of him soft unveiling. You could not see the actual surface of the ring, but they're in the big boxes and everything. It's like they were in 2014. So that'll get revealed to the crowd tomorrow. So that'll be great. I'm sure the crowd will go nuts. Yeah. And again, I think that that's a powerful thing to unveil in front of the recruits, because these kids all want to win national championships. They want to win games. And I always talked about, like, one of the best parts about going to Ohio State is, like, I was like, well, we'll never be underdogs in any game. We might be maybe once a year if there's some superpower that comes in, but if we are, it's going to be 3 points or less. So that's something for these recruits. Like, look, do you want to enjoy your life and enjoy your career? Come to Ohio State, because you're going to win a lot of games. Again, I'm telling you, as great as it is to go elsewhere and make a little bit more bucks or whatever, and else, like, winning is everything from a morale standpoint of the team, the mental health thing. Like, I love being on Ohio State because we won every game. We lose a couple a year, maybe 1 or 2, but some places you go, there's a shot you can lose 3, 4, 5, 6, and the stability is in there. Like, I'd sell Ryan Day getting this long-term extension, Mark Pantoni extended, Mickey Marotti's extended. The core facets of the program are all in place, and then you've got super high-level players at every position. So if you're Tyler Atkinson, you're looking at linebackers, looking at defensive ends, you can meet JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer and Will Howard. I mean, they're all going to be at the game tomorrow. They're all going to be taking that one last, kind of swim in the the basking in the glow and the victory of everything that comes with the national title. Because again, once these guys get drafted, they're going to be in Seattle and Green Bay and Los Angeles and Arizona and New York and everywhere else. So this is like kind of one last hurrah for these guys before the draft, and pro days are over, workouts are over, and it's time to celebrate. And again, this is going to be a national championship celebration, as Nevada so correctly stated, where these guys are all going to get the right kind of that right like send off that they deserve. Again, the winter, post national championship celebration is great, but what we're going to see tomorrow is going to be amazing. Like, we're going to see all these kids in there. They're going to get their rings and get to wear them around these recruits. And there's not much that's more powerful than that. Those guys accomplished the ultimate goal as a team. And to celebrate them one last time before they head off on their merry ways to their NFL cities, it's going to be fun. Really excited about it. Nevada, with some of the players, there's been some guys that have really stepped up. They had a kind of like a quasi scrimmage today when they had the coaches clinic, which is always a really nice event, but they weren't in full pads. They were in spider shells. Spider shells are like these pillow pads that we would wear like, on a Thursday during the season. They protect you, but they're not anywhere near as hard as the plastic shell regular shoulder pads that we wear. So the practice is generally lighter, but you can still get work in. It's a lot like an OTA in the NFL. Jermaine Matthews had a pick six today. Some guys were really showing out a little bit. Mylan Graham continues to ascend to a height where I think he's going to be one of our top four receivers pretty easily. I think after Ennis, I think he's the next guy, followed by Quincy Porter. But you can kind of glean from the O-line. I mean, Austin Sauerveld's running a lot at right tackle right now, along with Ethan Onianwa. I think that gun to my head is where they're going to be at. I think that, when you've got four guys that started in the playoffs and helped you win a national championship, it's hard to bench any of those guys for Phillip Daniels from Minnesota. I think you want to try to do the best you can, but I also think that there is that element where when you're coming out of spring ball and you're saying, well, for someone like Tegra, you're going to start here this year. Don't worry about getting that second portal window. Don't worry about hitting the auction block, because there's a thought where these kids that are these starters are very valuable. So if I'm Ryan Day, if I'm Tyler Bowen, if I'm Brian Hartline, the four guys that helped win me a national championship last year are all going to be in the starting lineup for the spring game tomorrow together, along with Ethan Onianwa, who's our prized left tackle that we paid a lot of money to. So that's my starting five tomorrow. I want them to leave spring thinking, okay, you guys are the five starters. What are your thoughts on that, along with some of the activity that happened today in the Horseshoe?
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, one of the stories is we have a lot of depth on the offensive line. I mean, you've talked about Ethan and Phillip Daniels, the two portal tackles, and obviously we've talked about the four, the fabulous four on the inside, and Luke Montgomery and Austin and Carson and Tegra. But the guys behind him, the Ian Moores and the Jake Cooks and the Gabe Van Sickles and the Josh Padillas, you know, they're all, I mean, they're all players. I mean, these guys can all play, and I think it's really a tribute to the job that that was done here in the past by the recruiting, in the present with the development and with Mickey Marotti and staff. But they're sitting with an offensive lineman that's going 10 or 11 deep right now with guys that can play, that can actually line up and can perform out there. And I think that's been really a pleasant surprise for Ohio State. And I think even they're surprised by how much depth that they've got on the offensive line. I think the contrast is the defensive line, where they're still looking for bodies. They've got a lot, they've got high end, and they've got a lot of really good guys up top. I'm not sure how much depth that we got on the defensive line, and that may be an area that we need to shore up in the second portal window. There's another opportunity to go shopping, and Ohio State's going to be looking and trying to expend their NIL money properly and appropriately and smartly. But it's kind of a tale of two lines. Offensive line deep, defensive line, a lot of guys just untested, top end guys, super talented. Um, but I'm not sure where we're at in terms of the defensive line right now. Quarterbacks seem to have, again, it's a dogfight. Lincoln and Julian are definitely in a dogfight right now. I think Lincoln's experience and having been here a full year longer is certainly something that's helpful for him from that standpoint. He's got a lot more experience. Going through spring ball seasons with Ohio State, whereas Julian Saint's still relatively new and inexperienced. But for my money, I think the defense has been running ahead of the offense during the spring. I think the defense has been really good. I think Matt Patricia has done a heck of a job with these guys, and despite the fact that that we're a little thin on the defensive line, they've been finding creative ways to generate that pass rush. The linebackers look good, and the defense's secondary is just an absolute team strength with a bunch of dogs on there. So no, teams rounded into form nicely. Tomorrow should be a nice fun day. And we'll see where we're at. I'm just as always with these games, I just pray for no injuries, nothing like that. I hope I can speak them out of existence. But really, really successful spring and really, really smooth sailing. So very, very pleased with everything I've seen so far.
Yeah, I think that like, knock on wood, like, the most important part of tomorrow is get out there healthy, no major injuries, no Mitchell Melton situations where he gets hurt late in the spring game. I think that the team, they're in ripper shape. I mean, obviously, people want more out of the quarterback position, but these guys are so young. They got a whole camp of 20-ish practices to get through all summer. A lot of 7-on-7, a lot of throwing that can go on in kind of an unorganized sense. But I think that this is a time for Lincoln and Jalen to turn up. And again, for me, and again, I know I'm crazy, and people are gonna say, Kirk, you're out of your mind, but I like a tight race right now. Like, I don't want, like I said, if Julian would have just blown Lincoln out of the water right now, and he was the minus 10,000 favorite to be named the starting quarterback, I don't think that's the best course of action for Ohio State. I think that, again, you want someone to seize it, obviously. You want somebody to play at an all Big Ten level, obviously. But did I want Lincoln or Julian to be so much better than the other guy that the other guy's gone? No, I don't think that helps us. I think that we're, it's so thin, and as great as Tavian St. Clair's going to be here, like, are we ready to risk the season with JJ and Carnell and James Peoples and these guys next year? Don't think so. So again, I think spring's been great. I think Ryan's managed it well. Getting Pantoni's extension done heading into the spring game weekend when these recruits come around, and again, these guys all know, hey, the GM has just got extended and the head coach got extended, and again, I like echoing the fact that we have major stability across the program. I think that's huge, especially with these recruits, and again, I think that it puts a little more pep in Mark Pantoni's step when he gets the extension that he deserves. The raise that he deserves. And now it's time to go get these recruits, get guys signed up and get these NIL deals done, and, get ready to get into the second portal. Because again, I don't think Ohio State will never sit still with the second portal. I think there's going to be some good players that are going to be able to find. So I'm super excited about it. I think this is going to be an epic day, starting with the Buckeye Scoop meetup at Buffalo Wild Wings at the corner of Lane and High from 10 to 12. Then you guys can head off to the game. Have a good time. It's going to be epic. Really excited about it. Like I said, this is going to be a monstrous weekend for Ohio State, and people are here to do business. I mean, Tyler Atkinson's up here, and like I said, I talked to the dad, and I'm like, hey, if you guys want to get get the sack statistics up, man, look at the offense we got. And we're gonna be ahead in every game. So if you want to go stack up statistics, especially rushing the passer, this is the spot. Because I think Tyler's going to be an edge. And that's what he's going to end up being. And he'll be a really good edge. And a first round Micah Parsons kind of edge is his trajectory. So I'm super excited about that. Nevada, any other thoughts? And we can dig into some super chats.
Well, no, this is kind of when Pantoni, those guys got to do their magic. This is when the collectives have got kind of do their magic because, guys like Atkinson, I think, what is this, his fifth visit up here? We've been doing podcasts on Tyler since he was like a freshman. I mean, I think it's like freshman phenom back in the thing. So like he's been around for a long time. He's got a lot of interest in Ohio State, but the bottom line is you got to hit the bid now. So this is where Ohio State's got to look at what they have, what these guys are asking for, where they want to be on it. And it's a challenge because we've talked about how you can't pay top dollar for everyone. And Ohio State's strategy up until now has been spend the bulk of their money to retain their roster. Keep the guys that have proven they can play and not spend a lot of money or as much money on unproven guys, namely high school kids. And that's been a solid strategy right now. But do you deviate that? Do you see Tyler Atkinson in the same vein as you did like a JJ Smith, like a can't miss defensive player that you want to step up and do something special for? That'll be interesting to see how they respond. We'll know more coming out of this weekend. But you've got all, like you said, you've got all of the the top dogs, the best offensive players, the best defensive players. It's really a who's who of recruits coming into Ohio State this weekend, and I'm going to be really interested to see how they play the NIL game on it, because that's kind of the game inside the game, and I love watching to see how that gets played out.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be really, really good. All right, let's get some super chats. Dan Welch, this is a very simple and easy one. Thanks for the deuce, and thanks for being an ultra member as well. He says, just want to send some love, Nevada OH. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, I think that this is going to be a great day tomorrow. I'm excited. I saw Steely. I know a lot of you guys are rolling down here tomorrow to check out our meetup before the game. And you guys can watch the game with us here. We'll be watching the game. It'll be a good time. I think that it's gonna be special. Like, tomorrow's gonna be a big day. I've got a ton of people that are excited to come. Can't wait to see all you guys. Beth and Karis, Steely, the whole crew. Sean Schrock, Sean Rawlings, Kim's coming. We're gonna hold the thing down. Yeah, the old school Scoop crew will be in the building, and we've got a ton of new Scoop people that are coming. I think it's gonna be absolutely fantastic. Nevada, we're gonna miss you tomorrow, but your thoughts on the Scoop meetup?
I'm jealous. Like I said, I wish I could be there for it. It's always, I know you always have so much fun. I know it's a lot of work, but I know that you have so much fun in terms of doing it. And, I mean, come on, you're going to be going to the spring game anyway. It's 5 minutes away from the stadium, or 5 or 7 minute walk or whatever. It's a short little walk from there. Come on by and see it. I mean, heck, for me, I like to go to Buffalo Wild and just sit there and watch the spring game on TV. That's what I would do, and then watch the Masters and watch the spring game. It all kind of going on. Yeah, with this one being the national championship celebration, maybe there's a little extra motivation to get into the stadium, but definitely swing by beforehand. But get early, because if you don't complain about not having some place to sit, because it's going to get packed.
Yeah, I plead with people, please get there early. Because we opened the doors last year, man, and it was it was just a flood of folks that all ran in. And again, it's great. Good, you guys know what it is. I mean, they grab that table, sit down, grab dinner, grab lunch, grab a cocktail, whatever you guys want. But get there early. I'm telling you, it's gonna be exciting. I can't wait to see everybody. I think it's gonna be an absolute blast. But yeah, it's a big day tomorrow. Nevada. All right, so we've talked about the spring game. We know what the spring game has kind of morphed into over the years. Let's game out and project a couple headlines. Like, what, Sunday or Saturday night, Sunday morning, what is your projected headline for what people get out of the spring game tomorrow?
I think they'll get that we have two capable quarterbacks that both have warts, but that they're both capable, and that Ryan Day clearly's got faith in both of them. They'll definitely get the idea that we have a preponderance and a plethora of wide receiving talent, and those guys, because games like this are basically almost like a glorified 7-on-7. A lot of passing. The running game kind of takes a back seat, and we're going to put the aerial circus on display. I think you'll discover that Ohio State has rediscovered the tight end in the passing game, and the running backs in the passing game as well. So they're going to find a lot of ways to get the ball in the air that don't go to the wide receivers, but still involve passing the ball. And you'll see an Ohio State defense that looks different. You'll notice the difference. Watch the ends. Watch the wide nines. Look at the wider splits. Look what they're doing with that. And look how many bodies they shuffle there on the back end, and how much talent that we have on that side. So I think it'll be a story of capable quarterbacks, a varied and interesting looking defense, and an awful lot of receiving talent for Ohio State that we have going into the 2025 season.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm going to cheat a little bit. The headline, I think, is going to be the emergence of Bo Jackson. I think Bo Jackson is going to have he's in a situation where he is kind of right on the verge of becoming the number 2 running back. I mean, he practices really hard. Might practice a touch harder than CJ Donaldson. I think that the thing that'll benefit him, though, is he's with the 2s and 3s, and there's going to be times where Ryan Day is going to make those young guys live. So, when you're James Peoples and you're with the 1s, and you're not live, it's hard to display your explosion, your elusiveness, your ability to break tackles, because it's just not real. Like, there will be times where guys might not actually have you, but they tag off on you, and he's down in the spot. And it's a lot like, like Braxton or Justin Fields, or, when we have these hyper athletic quarterbacks that aren't allowed to run. I think that Bo Jackson, though, will be allowed to run, because I think that he's going to be in the middle of a defense that's thin up front. Again, we've talked about the lack of depth of the D line. So when you get down to the 2s and 3s, thin. He finds some holes, puts the shoulder down. He's trying to eat, because he's a freshman and he's young and he's a high school kid and first time in the shoes. So, I mean, he's been a standout this spring, and he was a guy that we talked about coming into spring. If you guys subscribe to BuckeyeScoop.com, Bo Jackson was one of the biggest guys that we were hyping in the winter, working with Coach Laughlin, learning the playbook, being a student of the game. Again, all that adds up. Like, again, there's always trends, folks. And again, we get a lot of great intel, and then we have to decipher what's real, what's not real. But the hype around Bo Jackson was very real. He looks really good in practice, and I think tomorrow he could break out, and I think people will be very excited about it. So again, there's always somebody that has a random breakout, like T.Y. Williams, who was a 6'7" receiver in 2012 and 13. Ended up getting kicked off the team for a test. He had like an 80-yard touchdown reception, and people thought he was going to be the big breakout guy because he's going against a walk-on and dunked on him and ran down the field. And but again, this is all with a giant grain of salt, because with these breakouts, there's always the counterbalance of bad performances where you've got not bad, but just average to mid to below. Like, I mean, Justin Fields was like 4 for 11 for 70 yards. I think 65 yards came on one. It was like 90% of the yards came on one throw where a guy made it miss. So it wasn't like when Justin Fields left the field after his one spring game he played in, it wasn't like, oh my God, look at this incredible, amazing performance. It was more like, yeah, like, is this guy really going to be the savior? And it turned out he was really good in 2019. So we'll get into all that. Let's get another super chat up here. Devin, I appreciate you, my dude. All right. Devin, Ohio 7715. Thanks for being an ultra member. Thanks for being a great moderator. Thank you for being the leader of the Buckeye Boys, along with Mello. Appreciate you, my dude. Make sure you guys follow Buckeye Boys. BOYZ. Make sure you guys search for it correctly. You'll find it. Outstanding content as always. Heard anything on players entering the portal? Not yet. I don't foresee much with Days Elite Culture 2025 Natty Lock. Nevada OH. Nevada, your thoughts on hearing anything on players entering the portal? Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I just think it's inevitable. It's going to happen. I think it's going to be anybody that's relevant to the two deep? I don't think so. I wouldn't. I think that we've seen most of that movement. We've got a kind of a sense for where that's at right now. So I would think that any movement's going to be somebody who's a little bit more buried on the depth chart. And frankly, that kind of movement, for me, I view it as good news, because it enables you to just free up a scholarship, free up a spot for somebody else. And for the players, it gives them a chance to move on to some place where they get a chance to play. And I never begrudge anybody wanting to do that, because, we've talked about Joe Burrow. I mean, if Joe Burrow had just hung out at Ohio State and been the backup, he'd be selling used cars in Athens, Ohio right now, and said he's going to be a billionaire. So I think he made the right choice. Sometimes you have to move on to get an opportunity to do anything. But I haven't heard anything that would lead me to believe that there's going to be widespread attrition or wholesale attrition. or attrition from anybody that's particularly relevant to our chances in 2025 or 2026. But look, that could change. In these days, you never say never because it could change with a phone call. But I haven't heard anything that would lead me to believe that, and I generally hear that stuff in advance, and I haven't picked up on any of that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that there will be guys that leave. There's going to be every portal window that we ever have for the rest of our lives. There's going to be some 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys that leave. I don't think it has anything to do with culture or Ryan Day or whatever. It's more guys who are just looking for the right situations. Maybe some guys are looking for money, whatever. And we don't think that they're worth the money. And in general, I don't think it's going to be guys that we're just like, oh my God, how are we ever going to survive? Like, we lost Devin Brown, Mitchell Melton, Hero Canoe in the past portal one, and there's none of those guys. I'm like, oh my God, like let's cancel the season, let's cancel Buckeye Scoop, let's cancel everything because we lost Hero Canoe. No, they're guys that want a better opportunity or they're promised something, and it's going to happen in this window. But the good part is you get to kind of delete the bottom fillers on your team and go get some ballers, some players, because it frees up some cap space, frees up some scholarship space. And again, I'm very jealous, and I talked about this before with some guys that are on the team now and some of the parents. I was like, look, I love that Ryan Day and Mark Pantoni can eliminate the misses quicker. And they can. It's kind of like in business where you can hire slowly but fire quickly. Like, I mean, if you are trying to hire somebody that's the right fit, you're trying to figure it out. It's tough. I mean, you got to make sure it's the right fit. But if they're a total miss on the culture, then all of the sudden it's like, hey, we missed and let's get rid of them. So your guys will hit the portal and we'll be okay. And I'm sure that we'll add some good players in the second window. And I'm excited for that with Ryan Day and the team. Jojo, thanks for the deuce. Could Lincoln Keenholz be a smaller version of Will Howard? In my dreams, I would love that, but I don't know. I mean, Will's a part of his S tier traits is the fact that he was so big, physical, strong runner, athlete. Lincoln's a fantastic athlete. He's not very big. He's decent size. He's not small, but he's not enormous like Will Howard is. I mean, Will Howard, again, as much as people don't understand how good Will Howard was, like John Gruden, who isn't Kirk Barton or Nevadabuck, said that he's like identical to Josh Allen, who's the NFL MVP last year. Josh Allen, 6'4", 235. Will Howard, 6'4", 236. Same size, same speed, same everything. So that's what I think he is. That's why I think that him going in the second round is insane. And if you go look at Josh Allen's got a stronger arm, obviously, but you go look at all the other statistics and Will Howard blows him out of the water. Now, obviously, it's not the same level of competition, not the same level of talent around him. But I mean, Will Howard he's that dude. Pretty damn good. Nevada, your thoughts? Could Lincoln Keenholz be a smaller version of Will Howard?
Yeah, I mean, from your mouth to God's ears. Let's hope that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're different kinds of. I mean, Will just kind of reminds me of that. He's kind of that big, hulking kind of. I mean, he was a really big dude. I don't think people really have an idea. I mean, he was just a big kid for sure. Lincoln's a little bit more springy, a little bit more athletic. He is more in the vein of a Joe Burrow type of build, and I mean, I like I said, I hope and pray he can be anywhere type anything like Will Howard was at Ohio State, and I like Lincoln. I mean, I like everything about him. I would what a great story for a kid from South Dakota to be able to come in here and do something in Ohio State. It would make for a great Cinderella story for sure. I'm not sure it's going to play out that way, but if it did happen, man, I'll be rooting hard for him, to do that. And like I said, if he can just manage the game like Will did, run opportunistically like Will did, and protect the ball like Will did, then we're gonna be really good. And I think Ryan Day has a way of bringing out the best in quarterbacks. And Lincoln's been in here for a while. there's no reason to believe that he can't be a really good quarterback. And but will he be like Will Howard? I think they're going to be. I think he'll be more like a. I'm trying to think about who he'll be like. Who would you compare Lincoln Keenels to here?
In
I
the
mean,
NFL,
no, I'm talking about here at Ohio State. Who would he? I mean, maybe Bobby Hoying. I'm just trying to think about who he'd be like.
Scott McMullen, Scotty Mack.
Scott Scotty Mack. I love Scotty Mack. One of the
I do
underrated
too.
Buckeyes.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, he was actually really good. So
yeah,
that's not a slight
he
on
was
Lincoln.
good.
It's more just I know how good Scotty Mack was. Scotty Mack was an athlete, baller kind of guy. I mean, Scotty Mack's biggest problem is he did everything wrong off the field. And again, I love Scott McMullen. That's not being a slight, but he was he liked to party and didn't do everything right. But he'd get on that field, man, and he was just like he was like a very, very, very broke, poor, homeless man's version of like a Brett Favre. Brett Favre would go out the night before the game, when he's a rookie, and go have a time, and then he'd get in the game and throw for 3 touchdowns and whatever when he's a young guy. But I don't know. I mean, probably not Scott McMillan. I mean, it's hard because like Lincoln's, he's made some mistakes, and that's part of being a young quarterback. And again, I think that part of when you're a young quarterback and you're in a competition is like you want to stand out and make a play, then you throw a pick six like you did today to Jermaine Matthews Jr. So it's um, I don't know. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that because I don't know who he reminds me of because he's really athletic. And again, Mickey Marotti has called him fast twitch Joe Burrow, which again, that's like that'd be like if you said, well, it's like Joe Burrow, but he runs faster. You'd be like, well, he's gonna make $2 billion in the NFL, but that might be a little gaudy, but that's coming from Mickey. But I think it's more that that's his mannerisms and how he acts and his competitiveness and everything else. Like he does, Joe Burrow's a guy that like did everything the right way, and guys just followed him around and whatever. So I think that that's kind of more um, where we're at. Nick Ma, thanks for the 10. Appreciate you, my friend. He says, while we want Julian Sand to be, quote, the man, we want Lincoln Keenholz to be absolutely ready. Nobody here forget what Cardell Jones did. Yeah, I mean, I said, basically for me, this spring has been great because nobody pulled away. These guys are in again, if you're Lincoln or if you're Julian, like, if you're neck and neck and you've got the balls to think that you could be the starting quarterback at Ohio State, like, why would you leave? Why would you concede the spot? Where you get to throw to JJ and Ennis and Tate to go play at Iowa or wherever. It's like, I think that this has worked out great. I think Ryan's got to sell that. I think Billy Fessler, Brian Hartline. Look, this is neck and neck. Either of you guys to be the starter this year, and that's all I'd want. If I'm Julian Sayin, who came into this thing as the underdog, you're going into the 5th round of the championship fight, 2-2 in the rounds, and all of a sudden it's like, well, let's go have at it in the fall and in summer conditioning and everything, and may the best man win. That's all I want is a fair fight. That's all I want, and I think that we've got that between Lincoln and Julian, and whoever Ryan Day picks, I'll be good with. Because Ryan Day has forgotten more about quarterbacks than I'll ever know, and you'll ever know. So whoever Ryan goes with, I'm good with it. Nevada, your thoughts again. Nick Monix for the 10. He says, wow, we want Julian Sayin to be, quote, the man. We want Lincoln Keenholz to absolutely be ready. Nobody forget what Cardell Jones did. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think the way it's kind of breaking out is perfect for Ohio State. Like you said, if either one of the other guys, and if Lincoln had balled out and Julian didn't see a path to the field, that wouldn't be good, or vice versa. So to keep those guys both engaged, competing, and here, most importantly, present during fall camp. As an Ohio State fan, that's all we're rooting for. Because sometimes people are like, "Oh, Nevada, who are you rooting for to be the quarterback?" And I'm like, I couldn't care less. I just want whoever it is to be really good and throw lots of touchdown passes and throw less interceptions and run opportunistically and lead this team and let's go win a natty. I don't care who it is. I just want them to do it. So for Ohio State, the only thing better than having one of those guys capable is having two of those guys capable. Because I can remember the year where we had Justin Fields and then Chug, and that was freaking terrifying to me. And I know it became a running joke and we laughed about it a lot, but you think about what life would have been like if Justin Fields had gone down, and that wouldn't have been good. And then, like you said, you contrast that, rightfully to the year where we went Braxton to JT to Cardale. and then we still won the national championship. I mean, crazy to think about that. I don't think we're winning the championship with Chug. So this year, at least we've got two guys. I've got a lot of confidence in either one of them. Lincoln, for his experience and his stick-to-itiveness and his athleticism, and Julian for just his pedigree. I mean, I know Julian is a great quarterback. I mean, I've seen it with Julian at the highest level in football out here in California. He can do it. So I have a lot of faith in him as well. So we got two. That's better than one, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is working out great for Ryan, and you got to keep them both here through the season. All right, Nevada, let's wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts?
Well, yeah, tomorrow the Buffalo Wild Wings come to the meetup. Get there early, or don't complain because Kirk's going to be holding court. Going to be a lot of people there, but it's the
A
perfect
lot of
place.
people.
You're looking for a tailgate or looking for a place to kind of hang out before the thing, and you're kind of going, "Wow, what am I going to do?" Come to Buffalo Wild Wings. It'll be great. You can get some food, get something to drink, and then head over to the game. So hopefully you guys do that, and we'll have a wrap-up show tomorrow evening on what we saw at the spring game and what we heard from the recruits, and maybe we have a surprise bang by tomorrow. So we'll see.
And if you wear your Scoop gear, Nevadabuck will buy you a beer. I've got his Bitcoin password, so we're getting it all
I
laced
love
up
it.
and ready to go on the tab.
Coinbase,
So
Coinbase. Let's
Coinbase,
go.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Nevada, U.S. Women's National Team, Coinbase.com,
Oh,
org.
dear God. Oh,
Never
yeah.
mind. Nevada's gonna
Never
hang
mind.
up on me and kill me after that one. So I love you to death. But Nevada wishes he could be here. It'll be great. But tomorrow's gonna be amazing. I can't wait. Kim and I will hold down the fort. It's gonna be a great day. Let me get into my final scene. And again, I appreciate you guys so much. You guys enjoy our content. Please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Again, look forward to seeing you guys. We have a huge crowd coming tomorrow. A lot of special surprise guests. It's going to be a great day. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you guys on what will be a special day in the Horseshoe. Stop by and say hello and have a little lunch, a couple cocktails, roll into the shoe, and have yourself a day. Again, if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. Again, you guys are the absolute best. I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you give us a subscription on Apple Podcasts. I want to see you guys in person tomorrow. But grab your phones and say, make sure you're subscribing to our stuff because I'm going to check you guys. I know you guys all will do that. So I appreciate you guys helping us out. So with that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Looking forward to see you guys tomorrow morning. B-dubs, 10 a.m. to noon. Lane and high before the spring game. I'll see you guys then. You guys have a great night. Go Bucks.